Navigating friendships at any age is a challenge, but trying to stay connected during midlife and in a pandemic might leave some reevaluating their own friendships. Shari Leid, certified life and mindset coach and author, joins us this morning to talk about it. Good morning, Shari. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about the effects on friendship. I know for myself, there are so many. I have a long list of folks that I'm waiting to catch up with, but for some reason or another, it just gets difficult and difficult.
Yes, and as you mentioned earlier, the pandemic certainly didn't help at all. You know, the loss of proximity to our friends. And during the pandemic, we not only reevaluated things like jobs and where we want to live with the great resignation and migration to new areas of the country, we also looked at our friendships. And there was a report in the Atlantic that actually called this the Great Friendship Reckoning, where we're looking at our friendships and we're not only looking at, who we trust emotionally, but we were also thinking, who do we trust in our physical space as well?
Yeah, and so why is that so important to take a look at? I know for me, I've done a lot of boundary setting, where I'm not going out of my way to check on people who may not serve me well.
Yeah, it does. It takes work, especially when we got so used to kind of taking a step back and being in our own little space during the pandemic. And you mentioned midlife. And this is what happens naturally in midlife. We start out early in our, either after college or high school. We kind of all start out as young adults in the same place. And then our lives take these drastic turns. We go, we get married, we go off to school, we get different jobs, we move, we have kids. And we reach this place in midlife where we realize maybe where we are now is vastly different than a lot of our friends.
Right. And so when we reevaluate that, as you mentioned, some of my college friends are definitely in a different place than I am. Some have families. I myself don't have kids. So just things change. So how do we move forward with some of those friendships, or do we leave them behind? And how do you know?
Yeah. I think number one is to realize it's okay that our friendships end. For some reason, we've put this stigma on ending friendships as it's a bad thing, when actually it's more common for friends to naturally end as we move through life. And it's not a bad thing. So the first thing is to take away that guilt, because most of our friendship circles, half of the network we have changes over a period of 7 years. So it's a natural occurrence. So take away the guilt. And number two, trust your gut. A lot of times our guts, our bodies are more honest with us than our minds are. And we feel it. We physically feel when a friendship is no longer supportive or feels right for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess my last question would be like, once we reevaluate, how do we go about finding new friends?
Yeah, that's, it takes work. It definitely does. And there's so many different opportunities right now. And one I think is especially important for a lot of people who either got comfortable staying at home during the pandemic or are naturally a little bit more introverted, and it's not comfortable to go out and just, strike up a conversation. It starts with just challenging yourself to speak with maybe one new person a day when you go out at the grocery store. Say hello, strike up a conversation. It doesn't have to be anything deep, but just get into that practice of smiling, saying hello, and just like I said, just one person a week. But get into that practice, because we're out of practice. We all are.
Yeah, absolutely. I am admittedly that introvert, so you talking about striking up conversations, I'm like, I can't, I don't know, but I'll work on it. Man, times have changed. We appreciate your time, Shari. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.